All right, joining me now on Inside TBT, Jerome Seagers. Welcome to the show.
Man, thank you for having me, man. Thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
Absolutely. So you are playing in TBT, hopefully, with the Vegas Rebellion, which is a UNLV alumni team. Can you talk a little bit about how, this team got started and what the squad is looking like?
Man, so we actually got started. So before I played in the TBT a couple years with some other teams, New Mexico State Aggies, and I played before that with the Willows Runners. But I said, man, I think it's time for us to get a UNLV team. I played there, played with a great group of players, and as far as our team, man, I think we got a pretty good team. We got Steven Zimmerman, Ben Carter, we got Shakur, not Shakur Stevenson, forgot Shakur's last name, but we got Bakke. He's another good kid that played there. Big 6'11" kid. So we got a pretty good core right now. A good group of guys that played at UNLV along with me. So that was the biggest thing, man. So he's still working on maybe one or two more. But we just want to get the right fit. And along with that, we got Coach Dave Rice, man. So he coached me while I was at UNLV. So he's super pumped. Coach the whole TBT team.
That's very exciting stuff. So, of the guys that you named, I'm not a UNLV fan, but I know enough about UNLV. But for people out there who may not be as familiar, who are the guys that you named that you actually played with when you were at UNLV?
Okay, so when I was at UNLV, I played with Steven Zimmerman. He got drafted first round to Orlando Magic. I played with Ben Carter. He's a Las Vegas kid. He ended up transferring to Michigan State for his last year, but he's a Vegas kid at heart, so it's always good having him in there. We got Bakke, big kid. He's about 6'10", 6'11". He played a little after me. He maybe played like 2018, 19. But yeah, great kid, man. Runs the floor hard, and he plays pretty hard. We also got Amari Hardy. I know you know his brother is Jaden Hardy playing with the Dallas Mavericks right now. So Amari is a good get. And we also have Shakur. So Shakur played at UNLV for 3 years, and then he transferred to Oregon for his last year. But he's settled home base in Vegas. So we got a pretty good group, man. I'm excited, man. I think we're gonna do big things.
Something I've always wondered: how do you stay out of trouble going to college in Vegas?
Man, look, listen. When I took my official visit, I said the same thing, right? But it's kind of crazy when you get to Vegas, man. If you're not 21 or older, you really can't do anything on the strip. So maybe I got the UNLV when I was like 22, 21 because I transferred from Rutgers University. But man, it was some good times, man. It was a lot of fun. And when I played there, that was when the Rebels were the Rebels. So
Where did you get taken on your official visit?
oh man, so we stayed at the Aria. So that was the official hotel. We stayed at the Aria. Man, we went on a lot of different places. We went to a restaurant that I thought was so cool that they had back in the '90s when Tark was around. And we went to the restaurant. As soon as you go in the restaurant, you see all the pictures of Larry Johnson, Stacey Augman, Greg Anthony, and it just showed the restaurant like that was where they ate before every game. And to go there and eat dinner, it was definitely an appreciated moment.
That's very cool. So, your time at UNLV, I know you transferred in from Rutgers, so it wasn't as long as some other guys, but what are some games or moments that, you really remember from UNLV?
Man, we got a lot of good games, man. So I remember in Maui, Indiana was ranked maybe about like 12 or 14 in the nation. We ended up beating Indiana at the Maui Invitational, so we beat them there. And then we played Oregon here at the MGM, and they were ranked about maybe I want to say top 20 as well. They were ranked maybe like 11 or 10, and we ended up beating them. They had Dylan Brooks. They had what's the guy that plays for the Boston Celtics? I forgot his name.
Richard?
But they had yeah, Richard. Yep, they had Richard there. So it was a man. Now that I think about to these times, man, I had a great time at UNLV, man.
Did you play Oladipo, that Indiana team? Was that who you played against?
No,
Or was it
so
after?
it was after we played against like Yogi Ferrell, James Blackman, Troy, Thomas Bryant. He's with the Denver Nuggets right now. We played against
Yeah.
that Indiana team.
So, since your career at UNLV ended, where have you played?
Okay, so my first year coming out of UNLV, I got drafted to LA, played in the G League for about a couple months, and then I went overseas, played in Sweden. That next year I came back. Boston had my rights, so I played in the G League with Boston. And I ended up getting traded to Memphis, and then from there I went overseas, played in Germany, played in Austria, Canada, Mexico, and and then that was about it.
Who are, some of the best guys you've had the privilege of playing with or against post UNLV?
Woo, man, that's a good question right there, man. I played against a lot of good guys, man. Played against Dion Waiters, played against Fab Melo, played against uh who else played against DJO. He was at Marquette. Played against Jay Crowder as well. So I played against the top of the top, man, best of the best. So it's definitely a lot of names to remember.
Did you play waiters in college or somewhere overseas or NBA? Where'd you play him?
So I played against Dion Waiters when he was at Syracuse. They had Scoop Jardine, Brandon Trish, Fab Melo. They had a lot of good guys on that squad, man. So that was like my sophomore year in the Big East. This one, the Big East was the original Big East, and so, but it was definitely phenomenal, man. I appreciated that times.
Your career's a little confusing. You played Dion Waiters at Syracuse, but then Dylan Brooks at Oregon. That's a long college career to catch both of those guys.
Man,
But so obviously you're putting together the team of all UNLV guys, but if you could add a former teammate, could be UNLV, could be overseas G League, et cetera, who would you pick to join the squad?
woo, man, that's a great question right there. If there's one player that I probably could get, and I've been talking to him, he's my boy, so we played at UNLV together. It'll probably be Pat McCall. So Pat McCall played with me. We were in the backcourt together at UNLV. But I know he just won a G League championship, so he got a lot on his mind. So I've been persuading him, like, hey Pat, come on, man. We're gonna meet up with the boosters. It's gonna be like old times, but we'll see. We'll see if we get him over. That'll be the surprise one.
Isn't that 3-time champion Patrick McCall, or two? How many championships has he won?
He won 2 in Golden State and he won 1 in Toronto.
Wow, 3-time NBA champion Patrick McCall. Does he let you, hold the rings ever?
He always laughing jokes with me, man. He say, I ain't gonna let you be able to touch this, big bro.
So last question before I get you out of here. You've played a lot, played in a lot of places. What's the biggest, confrontation you've had with a player on the opposing team? Because I don't know if you saw the other day, but I'm a big LeBron guy. But if anyone else did what he did to Aaron Gordon in that Nuggets game, they would have been thrown out for sure. They didn't even review it. So curious.
Oh, yeah.
I know some crazy stuff goes down overseas. So what's like the biggest squirmish back and forth you've gotten into?
Oh man. So one year when I was playing in Germany, we were in the playoffs and they had this big guy, man. He was a Russian guy. He was about 6'9", 6'10". Overseas it's a little bit different. They don't really call too many fouls for the Americans. And I went to the basket one time, and I mean, he took me out of the air. Took me out of the air, and they didn't even call anything. Like, so when I got up, I was heated, man. I was like telling the ref, like, yo, that's a bad call, man. Like, call that as a foul. So I went over there then, but as the game went on, man, things got better. Towards the end of the game, man, he just came over to me. He was just like, hey, after the game, bro, we're brothers, but during the game, he's like, you're not my friend. I don't like you at all. And I was like, all right, man, it's all good.
I love it. Last question for you. You've played in TBT. You know about the Elam ending. You mentioned, who's coaching you. What's your Elam ending strategy? I know that's kind of a loaded question, but let's say you have the ball, okay? You have the ball. You're up 8. It's under 4 minutes. Are you trying to get a bucket to extend that lead to go into the Elam ending, or are you trying to call timeout and then get that first bucket once the Elam ending starts?
So I think over my previous years from playing in the TBT, I think once you get the final score settled, I think it's good to always call a timeout, right? Get your guys settled and get your guys understanding, okay, look, this is the final score, it's the Elam ending, and I think from there it's all about execution down the stretch. Once we can figure out who got the hot hand or who has the mismatch, I think we go to that in the Elam ending every single time.
I like that. Your answer made me think of one more question, so I apologize for lying about my last question. But my actual last question, have you run into any other weird, interesting, tricky rules in any of the leagues you've played in that differ from, let's say NCAA or NBA, similar to the Elam ending?
I'll probably say the only rules overseas that probably was super tricky was they can still smack the ball off the rim while it's still up there kind of twirling around the rim. But other than that, not so much, man. I really like the Elam ending, man. I think it's the perfect like setup, and I think it brings more excitement to the end of games, right? Even if a team is down by 25 or 30, they could go on a run and get like maybe 6, 7 stops on the road. Next thing you know, they're back in the game. So, but other than that, not too many different rules, man.
All right. Well, Jerome, I appreciate you coming on the show. The Vegas Rebellion, hopefully coming to a TBT location near you. Talk to you soon, man.
Hey, appreciate it, Andrew. Thanks for having us. Vegas Rebellion is in the house, man.
Clocking out early, that's the dish I don't like. Been getting paid since I was riding on the bike. Hit the pedal with the 8th, hopping on the 9th flight. I've been chilling out of sight, I'll be at the bar tonight. Told the bartender, go and take my card to swipe. You try the same thing, but your card get declined. White rappers nowadays, no, we're not too hard to find. I'm so dapper with my ways, I'm gonna linger in your mind. Always told me good things will come to those who are patient, but I've been way too patient, writing bars in my basement. I'm anxious in the real world, it's time for me to say this. The basics, the talent in my mind, I can't waste it. My life is too safe, it's my time for risk taking. I'm baking my mind every day, it's the same ish. Lazy, my grind needs to get a new facelift. Coming from the underground and busting through the pavement. Rock with it and lean with it. My team win it, my team win it. Now rock with it and lean with it. My team turn up when I spit it. Now rock with it and lean with it. My team win it, my team win it. Now rock with it and lean with it. My team turn up when I spit it. Don't think that I'm playing because I'm saving the game, and I said that I will be more because oh yeah, that is so raving, racing and pacing around all these lanes in my lane, out my way, unless you're trying to pay me. Not from the playpen, it's coming from the jungle. When you hear the bell, you better be ready to rumble, because I'ma grab the gloves and I'm gonna flex my muscles. Go ahead and spit some bars, but you're probably just gonna mumble. A lot of rappers these days really need to get them humble, cause they think they at the top, they better stop before they stumble. Cause I'm swiping all their biddies while they swiping right on Bumble. And your girlie calls me daddy, but she only calls you uncle. But no, we not related, homie, no, we not some fam. You never get in clubs, you can't even get in